The movement, the chi. It's like hot yoga, but without the sweat. Hi everyone, my name is Carlo. Hi everyone, my name is Carlo. I'm from Hong Kong and I run a calligraphy business called Carlo Make Art, and I started in 2012 doing calligraphy. And so currently in the Hong Kong studio I run a lot of calligraphy workshops teaching people how to write. So actually in 2012 I was living in Singapore. And I just literally, started my business, and I didn't know about calligraphy. I didn't know about the pen calligraphy. I came across a book, which is Eleanor Winter's Mastering Copperplate in a bookstore, and I bought a nickel G nib and a strict pen holder, and I started practicing. Because 2012, at that time in Asia, there wasn't many like calligraphy tools. Yeah, they didn't even have like oblique pen holders. So back then, when I first started doing workshops, it was very small. Like there were lots of interest of people who want to learn, but the community was very small. We're talking about like maybe 20 people for the dip pen. There were a lot of people doing broad pen at that time, but not so much dip pen. But now I think in Hong Kong we have like definitely over 100 or 200 of people who are constantly doing calligraphy or making it as a business. There are lots more people teaching or offering calligraphy service. So for my job, calligraphy is a job for my business, but it's also like my passion. So I basically do workshops. I also work for events. So for example, corporate events, on-site events. I also do some commission work or sometimes weddings. But among all, my favorite is teaching. Yeah, it's my most passionate thing. I have taught the same workshop over thousands of times over the past 7 or 8 years, and I always find it very inspiring, teaching even the same subject. Yeah, so before the pandemic, I do a lot of in-person workshops. There was a period in Hong Kong where we could not take any workshops because the government didn't allow us. So I started doing some online classes, but as soon as the government released the restrictions, I started doing in-person classes because I feel it's more personal. It's nicer to get to see the students and talk to them. I prefer that way. Yeah, so for Chinese calligraphy, I don't practice it, but I kind of know a little bit because my father does Chinese calligraphy, and also as a kid in Hong Kong, we all have to learn a little bit of Chinese calligraphy. I think the most similar thing is the movement, the chi. I feel like, especially, when you write, especially if you start to write more, not so much of beginner, you definitely feel that rhythm, the movement of writing, and it helps with the flow of the writing. So for Western calligraphy and Chinese calligraphy, it will be very similar. In terms of for mental health, I think both definitely have a lot of benefits for mindfulness, because when I practice calligraphy, it's not just trying to write, but I focus a lot of using it as therapy as well.
Yeah, I do find writing calligraphy is like yoga on a paper.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's what I say sometimes in the class to my students. Really? It's like yoga, but it's like hot yoga, but without the sweat. Yeah, so basically I submitted, I passed a certificate of proficiency in both Engrosser script and Spencerian. Yeah, thank you. So basically, I submitted my engrossed script, I think in 2019, and I passed in 2020. However, for my proficiency in Spencerian, I submitted twice because the first time I didn't pass. Yeah, so it is my advice for people who are thinking of like maybe taking this certification is that definitely spend enough time for not just right before you submit the paper, but over the years of like really understanding the script, because I've been practicing engrossed script for, I don't know the time, I think like 5-6 years now, yeah, and Spencerian around the same time. So definitely study a lot and maybe get a few people who are taking the exam, I call it exam, because it's nice to have a community that you can kind of like maybe talk about it and share some ideas, get some feedback from each other, and that will be really helpful. I think for people who just got into calligraphy, actually I got asked a lot, like what about turning it into business? My opinion is don't think about bringing it as into business straight away, because that really affects the mentality. Because if you think about, oh, I'm gonna be a teacher or I'm gonna do something to make money, then it probably you will not really enjoy it. That's how I think. I think you do it and see where it will take you. For example, from my experience, I actually learned calligraphy and by myself the first 2 years, and then I got more and more interested in it, and I started taking lessons overseas, because back then in Hong Kong we didn't have any classes. What happened, the reason why I became a teacher was because in Singapore, where I was living back then, there was a florist, and she asked me to teach a workshop, and I didn't say yes. I think I rejected her for 4 or 5 times, and she was very persistent. After a year, she was like, "Carlo, can you come and teach in my florist?" And I thought, okay, if someone really have so much, faith in me, and I should really like give it a try. The reason why I said no is because I know that I was an amateur. I didn't really like want to teach other people like, bad scripts or, like just not quality workshop. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, after saying yes, and that was quite a big change, because like I start to even take it more seriously, because I want to be a good teacher. I have to like keep learning from other people or traveling to IMPAF. I pretty much try to come here to the IMPAF, which is the American Calligraphy Conference, every summer, because I think that will allow me to really gain more knowledge to share with people. Yeah. So my Instagram or Facebook on my website is all under Carlo Make Art. So it's KALOMAKEART. Yes, I have. So currently my studio in Hong Kong, we run workshops, and also I sell calligraphy supplies, and it's also sell online as well. So I picked the winner, who's Lavinia. I really like the gold on the dark blue, navy blue color background, and I like how fine the lines are, so sophisticated.